New Year's Christmas is celebrated in Spain, and Julia is standing in front of the window watching this scene. Her husband, Manel, is playing with his 7-year-old nephew. Manel is a lawyer and owner of a solar power company, and they visit his older sister Belen. The boy refuses to sleep, but Manel shows him a video of his cat and he falls asleep. Manel and Julia are about to leave and Belen asks them to stay. Belen says, "You didn't meet Mario, he's still at the base." Manel says, "I will meet Mario again, and now we have to go as I have to go to work tomorrow." They leave for home, and on the way, Julia demands him for a kid. She angrily says, "We have been married for a year and now we should try to have a child." Manel tries to calm her down and then their car skids. Julia takes over the car but a truck hits their car. 1 year later, we see Manel alone at home, which shows his wife is dead in that accident. A TV anchor tells about a new type of TJS virus spreading. The situation in the cities is getting worse and the government has decided to close the borders. Manel feeds his cat and then checks the old letters from his wife. He ignores the news and leaves while we see a patient turn into a zombie due to the effect. Manel leaves for work and listens on the radio that the virus has been produced in abandoned labs by the Soviet Union. He reaches the dockyard where a couple is waiting for him to buy his boat. He shows them the boat and inside, seeing Julia's bracelet, he memorizes the past time. On his way back he gets a call from Belen but he doesn't answer and reaches a store. Customers in the store are told that the government wants them to buy no more than 2 items. He returns home and he puts the bracelet on his cat. The president on TV recalls all the incidents happening around the country. Malin doesn't take the news seriously and talks to Belen. Belen says, "I called you," and Malin explains he was showing the boat to a couple. Belen tells him they are moving to the Canary Islands due to the rising threat and asks him to go with them. Malin refuses to go, saying, "I'll take care of myself." Belen insists and Malin agrees to join them tomorrow. The next morning, seeing the people are leaving, Malin also leaves for the airport. At the airport, when the passengers are waiting for the flight, all the flights are cancelled. A man there creates a ruckus, which creates a commotion in the crowd. Malin messages Belen and then rushes for home. Due to the sudden emergency, people are trapped in a heavy traffic jam. Malin talks to an old couple and the woman tells him that they've to get chantada to their family. Malin says to turn around because we're not able to continue this way. After waiting for the traffic to open, Malin leaves the car and walks away. He reaches his area in the evening and is disturbed to see an ambulance speeding by. He sees the army has set up a quarantine zone near a house and asks people to leave. Malin asks the officer about the situation but he tells him to go home. He is shocked to see an infected man whose face is covered with a mask. People fear to see him growling and Malin returns home. Frightened, Malin goes to sleep and dreams about the night of the accident. Belen takes him on a video call and tells him the army is organizing safe zones. Malin says that how they will put so many people in the camps, it will increase the risk of the virus spreading. Belen asks him to stay in the house and she will call him there soon. Malin watches a video of an infected man attacking people. He keeps watching the chaos videos and then a high alert security commercial is played. He goes to the store to buy supplies and sees that people are taking everything. Malin picks up a wrap and the earlier old man snatches it. He then picks up some food from the gas station and outside, a bitten policeman locks himself in the store. A zombie attacks another officer and when Malin attempts to save the man, the zombie attacks him. Malin is saved by the dying officer who shoots the zombie and then shoots himself. He returns home and barricades his house. While on the TV, the president asks the nation to cooperate with the military as the virus is spreading quickly around the globe. Malin installs a camera outside his house and the army arrives at night to evacuate people. The officers knock at his door but Malin stays quiet until they leave. 2 weeks later, the whole city turns into a ghost town. Malin makes a video message for Belen but is unable to send it due to no network, leaving him unaware of his family's fate. Seeing his food is about to end, he goes out wearing a diving suit and a spear gun for defense. Malin checks all the houses in the colony but finds nothing. He meets an elderly lady named Gabriella, who fails to join the evacuation because she is wheelchair bound. She asks him, "Why didn't you go with the soldiers?" Malin says, "My brother-in-law is in the military and advised me not to go." Gabriella tells him about some houses where he can find some food. Malin again goes to check the houses, and he finds a dirt bike, and 2 walkie-talkies, and manages to collect supplies from different homes. At night, he and Gabriella have dinner together and she asks about his wife. Malin says a year before they had an accident and Julia died. He again sends a video message to Belen and apologizes to her for not paying a visit this whole year. He awakens by Gabriella's call who asks him to turn on the radio. On the radio, someone calls the survivors to join them in the Arousa County. Malin asks Gabriella to go with him, saying the food is about to end and you'll not survive alone. The next day, he readied the backpack, picks up his cat, and leaves to catch Gabriella. He finds Gabriella dead and leaves a good message for him, and Malin leaves emotionally. He is attacked by a zombie and he hits her head in the car and then shoots her with a spear gun. After recovering from this accident, he tries to cross the city, but the army closes the bridge. He then goes through the inner path and a lot of zombies start attacking him. Malin is distracted by seeing zombies and falls off. The horde arrives and he runs to take his cat. He arrives at the dockyard and locks the door to avoid zombies and finds that every boat is gone. He finds some supplies and spear guns, arrows, but is shocked to see his boat drift away from the shore. He swims to the boat and tries to start the boat but fails. There is only one zombie baby in the cabin, after which he leaves for the island in a lifeboat. Along the way, his boat stops working, and fears seeing dead bodies in the water. He sees a ship there and waves his hands for help. They see him and after some interrogation, they agree to help him. A crew member, Victor, introduces him to the ship's captain Ushakov, who wants to know where he came from. Malin says, "I'm coming from Pontevedra and I've been following the radio message to go to the Canary Island." Victor says, "We're coming from there, but the police didn't let anyone disembark, that's why we're here." Captain asks Malin about his work and he says, "I'm a lawyer," but Victor tells the captain he is an engineer. Victor takes him to the room and asks him to identify the location where we can find supplies by tomorrow and leaves. After loving his cat, Malin falls asleep and at midnight, he sees some survivors outside. He doesn't find any new survivors on the boat and then Victor calls him to the captain. Manel makes them mark the areas on the map, but the captain asks him the location of the concrete factory. Manel indicates a plan on the way to Vila Garcia, and later Manel sees the crew rifling through the refugees' possessions. He then asks Victor about the last night refuges and Victor denies, saying nobody arrived here. Manel asks him if are we prisoners and Victor refuses to say anything. Manel tells him that I know where there's a helicopter at the hospital and asks him to leave the ship as Victor is pilot. Victor still doesn't agree to help and asks him to shut his mouth if he wants to stay alive. Feeling no longer safe, Manel sees lifeboats attached to the ship and sets out to escape the boat on his own. He is forced to detour through the bowels of the ship, where he finds two of the refugees imprisoned. Manel tries to free them, but one of them keeps shouting. As he frees the man, he tries to run, but a guard arrives and shoots him. Victor also arrives there and tries to relax the guard. The guard doesn't want to listen to him and Victor kills him. Manel, Victor, and a refugee sneaks to the dinghy, but the guards discover them. As they depart, the remaining refugee is killed by the guards, and Victor is wounded. Manel and Victor make it to the shore where Manel kills the zombie and they drive toward the city. Victor loses a lot of blood and Manel tells him that his wife died in the same hospital, and asks him not to lose hope. They reach the hospital where the infected horde welcomes them, but Manel shoots all of them. Inside the building, they find nothing and Victor asks him to take out the bullet or the infection will spread. Manel leaves him in the room and goes to search the building. While searching the building, he hears children's voices and starts to find them. Before he can find anyone, he is attacked by the zombies and runs back to save Victor. He doesn't find Victor and a nurse named Lucia calls him to the safe room. Lucia introduces them to a nun named Cecilia, and 3 children hold up inside. Lucia and Cecilia treat Victor and then Lucia shows Manel the helicopter in a courtyard overrun by the zombies. Soon after, Ushakov's men arrive at the hospital looking for supplies. Forced to evacuate through a subterranean boiler complex, the group is attacked by a zombie. Cecilia is infected and remains behind. The rest make it to the helicopter and seal off the landing pad, but are intercepted by Ushakov and his men before they can take off. Manel cuts open the lock to the pad's fence, allowing the zombies to pour in and overwhelm Ushakov. After killing many zombies, Manel climbs aboard the departing helicopter, and the group escapes. As they near the Canaries, Manel manages to contact Belen. To their horror, Belen frantically warns them to stay away, and 2 fighter jets pass them, indicating that the outbreak has reached the Canaries. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing videos.